Perfect. Welcome to AI Talks, episode 12. This is with our fantastic guest today. We have Naomi. Thank you so much for joining us today. And today's talk is going to be about AI fluency. And this is going to be both from the perspective of people in the workspace and our workers in the corporate landscape in the corporate workplace, and then we also have the student perspectives that I want to bring in as well. Um, we both agree, me and Naomi, we both agree that AI fluency is a must-have skill set in today's workplace and uh, in today's schools. So I want to give us a second here for Naomi to introduce herself. Uh,
Thank
if
you
you,
so much. Well, as you said, I'm Naomi. Last name, actually have two last names, Latini Wolfe. Super complicated, and my students mostly call me Professor L. So that works as well. So much easier to spell and for me to type. I have been a sociology professor for almost 20 years, both online and in person. And doing that, I was there present for when online learning sort of was like just emerging. And that sort of got me into the ed tech side of it. And so now of course, I still teach, but I do a lot of work in ed tech spaces, making, different like inclusive little mini tools and whatnot for both students and educators. And I run the first Google Developer Group in coastal Georgia, GDG Brunswick. Started that about 2 years ago. Um, and so, yeah, I'm just really super into learning about AI and tech tools and how we can use them for healthy and sustainable human impact, social impact. And of course, I am the curriculum and content like education lead at Gen AIX, an AI education learning platform. So yeah, I think that's
yes.
it in a nutshell.
Yes, awesome, awesome, awesome. So much on your plate. I love hearing all the things that you are doing, and I love that Professor L. I didn't I love that. It has kind of like a X, what's it called, like an X-Men vibe, like Professor X vibe. That's cool. That's
I
like the
like
first thing
that.
that came to my mind. Yeah,
Yeah,
but
exactly.
that's perfect. So yeah, we did meet through Gen AIX, and I am a marketing co-lead, and she's a curriculum lead. So that is how we have our connection, and I think we should just get right into it. I think from both our perspectives, I think this is very important to talk about, and I do want to get right into what is AI fluency? What do we think compared to not using AI at all, which is pretty recently. I would say about a year ago, I wasn't really using it too much as learning about it. Now I'm using it a lot more for things that in my daily workflow. And would that be the same for you, you would say?
I started using AI beyond just like, the I don't want to say her name and get her, make her start listening, but we all have the little dots that we can speak to our bot assistant,
Mhm.
on your phone and those kind of things. Yeah. But
Right.
aside from that, probably around like 3 or 4 years ago, um,
Okay.
and there was not really very much to to even not many avenues to even learn about AI really then.
Right.
Whereas now, I mean, you could spend 24 hours a day learning about AI and never have, all of the knowledge. But to sort of address what you said about AI fluency, it is definitely the new standard. Um, AI fluency is like kind of like picking up a new language for the workplace. It's more than just knowing AI is out there. It's about using it and using it thoughtfully and questioning it when needed and
Right.
being transparent about how you use it. So if we think about how digital literacy became sort of a must have in the early 2000s, now it's AI fluency. Employers want people who
Yes.
can blend AI into their work in a way that's clear, ethical, and creative. Yeah,
Yes.
so I guess the short answer is it's about knowing how to use AI responsibly and efficiently.
Yes, I couldn't agree more. I think the three main points that you said, that those three pillars would be the prompting, verification, attribution. Like you said, we have to learn how to talk to the AI and then also credit AI and things of that nature. And I think that we're going to get to all three of those points today. And I did want to start off with prompting. I think it's a very new topic for a lot of people. But I mean, there's a spectrum. There's people that know a lot about prompting. There's people that, are saying, is prompting real? Is that just not asking AI? Like, how can you ask AI better? How is it going to give you a better response? And I think I wanted to address that misconception. Um,
Yeah. So, for anyone who doesn't know, you kind of just said it there, but prompting is really just like the instructions or the ask of whatever AI that you're using, whether it's video or text or whatever. So, one thing to think about with this is, or a term that we can use is prompt hygiene,
yes.
which is really just about being super clear and intentional with what you ask of the AI. If I give a prompt that's vague, I'm going to get an answer that's vague or an answer that's like targeted in one direction that I wasn't necessarily trying to go in. So when you're specific and thoughtful with any AI, you're going to get better results. And of course, with prompting, it requires a little bit of trial and error. Even for myself, someone who teaches about AI and consider myself highly fluent, I still also have to say, what else could I tell this AI to get it to do, what I want. Um,
Right.
it's kind of like you could compare it to writing with clean code. The clearer you are, the fewer surprises you're going to get.
Yes.
One of the points there that I always tell my students is we don't want to just ask AI, we're trying to collaborate
Yeah.
with AI. So a lot of the exercises and stuff that I build for Gen AIX are exercises that actually train learners to iteratively refine prompts to build clarity and confidence, which of course transfers straight into workplace communication.
Awesome, awesome, great. I think like that's a great point. Iterative prompting is very important, and there has
Mhm.
to be, because you're not going to get it right the first time. You have to make
Right.
sure that, and you're not going to get what you want from that question the first time. You want to keep expanding, keep either even if it's giving your own perspective, giving more information about you, adding context to
Hmm.
the question that you're putting into. And
Absolutely.
I did want to ask you about, I did want to ask you to give us an example of like a weak prompt versus a stronger prompt from the student perspective. If you had a student that's doing an assignment and they're using AI, how would you want to see AI being used or prompted?
Yeah. So, and I actually use Magic School AI, where I have like I think it's called AI Literacy for Everyone, a course that it's not really a course. It's more like a platform with tools that my students can use to learn some of this stuff, to practice, like a sandbox, if you will.
Mm,
Because prompting does take some time. I mean, that's why we have entire courses about it. At Gen AX, we have the quick sort of bite-sized lessons. Just the more you know, the better. So I would say for my students, what I often see is they might say, write a paragraph to help me learn the sociology of tech, the sociology of AI. And they're going to get something that's kind of vague and definitely not targeted to them. So, what I mean, there's an entire process for this, but some specifics of how to make that better would be to tell the AI who it is, because most of them can be whatever you want it to be. So, for myself, if I'm trying to come up with some new activity for student learning, I may say to the AI, not just brainstorm a lesson plan on blank. I'm going to say, you are a sociology professor. Your focus is on inclusion and accessibility. And then I'm going to be specific about the type of lesson it is and how long I want it to be. And if I have resources that I want it to draw from, I'm going to give it those, a website. So the scope, the focus, the task, the goal, and the role are super important. So did that make sense? I feel like that was all over the place.
Yes, that makes perfect sense. You have to include that context. It's very important. Giving more, background and more perspective on what the AI should tell you, and it does tell you that. I feel like uh, either people think to do it and think that it won't make a difference, but we're here to tell you that it does. And
Yeah.
I did actually want to just share my screen real quick. I did actually input exactly what you said into ChatGPT, and
Okay.
I wanted to just go into that real quick. So here we have write me a paragraph on the sociology of tech, and we have this response here. Now I have now we're adding some context here. So now we have you can see my screen, everything good, right? We can see. Perfect. Perfect. Okay, yeah. So yeah, we have you're a sociology, sorry, professor, and your focus is on inclusivity. And what else? There was other, like,
Yeah,
what else do we give here?
inclusivity. We'll just say inclusivity and accessibility.
Access.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I would
that's
tell it,
not the right spelling. There we go.
that most AIs don't care. You don't
Oh,
have to
is
spell it.
so? Oh, okay. You know what? I guess look at me learning too. I think I'm always trying to, I guess, make it sound. But that is true, right? If you spell it wrong, like if you're almost there, it'll just get it.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. And then I would say, wait, we're being, oh yeah, sociology professor. So then I would say, help me, don't say help me. Say your task is to create a one page document for learning material about the sociology of tech. Um, I would tell it to present it in a detailed outline format so that I can then follow up with it. I would also say to include sources so I can fact check everything.
Yes.
And yeah, I mean, that's good enough. You could keep building, but let's try that one and see how that does.
Yes. Okay. And there we go. Look at that. Here's a structured one-page learning material in outline format that emphasizes inclusivity and accessibility while covering the sociology of technology. That is a tongue
Yeah.
twister, but that
Yeah.
is comparing exactly what we've got. Write me a paragraph for on the sociology of tech. Write me a paragraph, and then now we have the context, we have the perspective given, and now we have exactly how we want the prompt to show us the answer as well. And here we go. We have the full. We have core concepts. We have, you know, all perfectly labeled. One, two, three. I mean, this is all anybody can have this kind of material. And then we have our works cited here at the end as well.
Yeah.
Um,
It's pretty awesome, right?
it's pretty incredible. Yeah, I would say. Um,
Thanks. That was a good example. I'm glad you did that.
Perfect. Yeah, I was a little nervous there. I had to type, so I was like, oh man, and there we go, making my typing mistakes immediately once I got into it. But hey, we got out of it, so we're good. But yes, I
Yeah.
think that I mean that. I mean, use this. I really want everybody watching this to use these kind of this knowledge now to in any prompt that you make with the AI. Make sure to you can always include more, right? There's always something you can do to better the prompt for your own advantage.
Yes, absolutely. The more
So
information,
perfect. Um, so okay. So with that being said, I think even with the best prompt, right? AI isn't going to be perfect. You can still get the like we said with iterative prompting, you have to make sure you convey it more like time and time again for it to be perfect, but it still won't be perfect. And the question is, can we trust what it gives us, right? And I think that's going to give us that's going to move us into the verification aspect that I want to get into. Um, and Naomi, I do want to ask you, what do you, in your opinion, what are the main risks of taking AI outputs at that face value?
yeah. Um, well, one thing that I emphasize, and we emphasize at Gen AIX too, is that this AI fluency, no matter how much expertise you have, it is not about blind trust. Um, I can tell you that for my students, the risk of just trusting it are that they get, like, for example, they might have a beautiful paper, but they've used AI to get sources to put in it because they think, I just know this information, I don't really need sources. And then I'll go to look at their sources. I'll say, wow, that's an interesting point. Let me read this article. And it doesn't exist, or it goes to like a BuzzFeed shopping list or something instead. So you always want to be in the habit of double checking, especially if it's something outside of your, purview. It's important and for so many reasons, but like even just think about like your ego, the risk of being confident while also being wrong. We don't, nobody wants to be that guy, right? That just feels so
Right,
confident about what we're saying and it's a bunch of malarkey.
right,
And not, not to mention, you can also get bias that you're, not really clocked into, that you're not looking for. You might get outdated information,
right,
depending on what bot you're using. Because AI can act a little bit like an overconfident intern at
hmm
times,
That's a
and
good point.
will even, sometimes I'll ask an AI like, can you provide the sources? Are you sure this is correct? And it will say, it will tell me that it's positive, that something
Hmm
is accurate. But I know it is not. I mean, that's just because of outdated information, or for all the different reasons, depending on the tool that you're using.
Right.
So, learning to log your verification steps, being sure that you're using your own critical thinking, and cross checking the information for sure. Like just looking up the sources, or if something sounds weird, go to like Gemini is pretty good about like up to date information from the web. Get, even if you're just going to use another AI to verify, like ask a couple of other
Yes.
AIs. There's
Yes.
never too much checking, I don't think. Um, yeah, so yeah, I think I've answered the question. We just want to be in the
Yeah.
habit of not accepting it at face value,
Yes.
especially, well, no, especially for everyone. I won't say especially, but
Yeah.
for everybody. Yeah.
Yeah, I think these are great points. I think even just hearing that, I was going back to me. I just graduated, so when I was doing assignments, I would go on ChatGPT. I would say, give me some good sources, give me some good links, and like you said, boom, I'm at a BuzzFeed shopping thing. I'm at Amazon, and I want something for like you know business ethics, and then it'll show you. It'll say business ethics. It'll give you the actual right letters, right wording for the source, but then it's gonna show you some crazy other link when you press on it.
Yeah.
So
Right.
that's what I've seen, and that's what I've seen from Chat GPT. What's considered what are like 1 trillion parameter, the greatest, right? The greatest model that we have, right? Um,
Yeah.
and that's super important to know, like that, like whatever you do get, still you're not at the level where you can just take it as face value. You want to make sure you click on all those links, check on all the wordings, especially if you're a student, especially if
Hmm.
you're a student, because you want to not, I mean, you're learning from AI. You're not copying and pasting, first of all. Second of all, you have to make sure that, you know, it can go off topic. And if it does go off topic, you have the chance of being, caught for plagiarism or caught for something else if it's not, if you submit something that is not on topic, right? So, um,
Yeah, that
have you
is
ever encountered something like that as a teacher?
all the time.
All the time.
All the time. Yeah.
With AI
And
specifically, or like I'm sure other
um,
cases are there, but with AI specifically, have you seen it with AI?
yeah, well, I would say, and I teach a lot of students every term, hundreds, and I've been doing it for a long time. So I have a pretty big like data bank, so I don't want to make it sound like this is like daily, every day. But if I'm grading 50 papers that are, a little complex, I
Yep.
will probably have one that is, cause enough for me to, you know, think I need to double check this writing myself. And of course, hopefully, students know that there's all kinds of tools that can check for AI generated content. It's never
Yep.
100%. That's an AI too, right?
Yep.
So I wouldn't say that's 100%, but what happens more often with students is that they copy and paste without the if this if they do the copy and paste thing, which is not the norm. Actually, just for the record, the studies show that students for the most part use AI for brainstorming and for asking questions just to learn,
Yep.
not to write them whole papers. That's a
Yep.
super common misconception. But more often, the AI will have included something in its output that is a giveaway, like
Yep.
like a little,
An
it'll have a
emoji
quick.
maybe.
Do I?
An emoji, because I know there's a lot of emojis that
Yeah,
sometimes come up with these outputs, and if you don't take all those out, then
yeah,
it kind of seems it's a dead giveaway. Emojis, the little check mark one especially, I've seen that so much.
yeah.
And
The most
right,
recent one, like last week, a student submitted a paper that towards the end of it, it said, if sources are needed, you can use these. And I was like, I didn't write that. Did I
oh, it's
say it's,
tough. You hate to
yeah,
see it, but like what else could that be? There's no way you're writing to
yeah,
yourself. Yeah,
I
okay.
know. But,
Okay.
I use all of that. I know some teachers are really stern about it, and I use it as a learning opportunity. And I will just
Right.
say, it looks like you might have gotten some help from AI, which is totally fine. I have that in my syllabus. Um, but we need to discuss, a few details about
Right.
when it's best to use it and when it isn't. Um, so yeah, you just want to be sure that you're using your own brain and your own critical thinking and your own knowledge to do that. One of the ways that I kind of get around that with students is for written assignments. I will have them submit an AI generated, say, put this into whatever tool and give me the AI generated. Tell me what your AI says. Then I want you to write it, and then I want you to write a blurb at the end that says the difference between yours and the AI one, so that they're constantly getting practice
Right.
seeing the difference. Yeah.
Right. Perfect. Yeah, I think that's perfect. I think you're definitely one of the nicer professors in that case. After hearing that, I think I remember there's I mean, especially for I was a computer science major, so when I was doing computer science classes, the AI plagiarism is like a zero. Like once that is even there, once they detect it with the software and everything, it's done. That's it. You're out of the class. You're done. So. Um,
Yeah.
it definitely
I don't.
comes in levels.
That, yeah. And that's it takes professors of all kinds. I
Yeah.
just prefer learning, if I can, because I do feel,
Right.
and it could be that a lot of professors don't feel confident about AI. Universities are still trying to incorporate their own policies and stuff. So it, that might be the best that they can do in that moment.
Yeah.
We're getting better at it, though, for sure.
Yeah, I think actually it was definitely fair to do that when I was taking. I mean, this is a couple of years ago when I was doing CS classes. So I think that is fair to do that at that time because I think our understanding has changed so much. I think now it's definitely more widely accepted to use it. I think just how we're using it is what is going to be more regulated. But back then it was more of like like we didn't really know how
Right.
especially from a professor's standpoint, it's like, okay, this is AI. What's it going to do? Give you the answer. So that's what I don't want, right? And it also depends on the professor's opinion, like on AI. There's a lot of difference of thought of like, this is
True.
good.
Absolutely.
I hate AI. I can't stand it.
Hmm.
Then no, my kids are not like. I feel like that's what you get a lot of different opinions on that.
Yeah. But I remember when my professors told me, like, this was early 2000s. Like they would say, you can't, like, don't use the internet for this. Don't use, and I'm like,
Okay,
okay, of course I'm going to use it. Not, and of course, like then, I don't think we had the ability to, there was no way to get something else to write your paper for you. But
that
students,
wasn't happening.
as humans, we're going to use tools that we think make things easier for us,
Right,
whether that's learning or whatever. And so now, kind of the AI is just the new internet.
right,
You just can't use it. That's not my personal stance. I think
right,
teaching them about it is the way to go if you're able.
right. I agree with you. 100%. I agree with you. So, once we've checked out that the AI's output is accurate, there is that one other step of being transparent about how we're using it. And I do want to get into attribution. I want to get into how we can cite our sources, make our critical thinking, more credible. And
Hmm.
I did want to ask you, what are some simple ways that, as a student, as someone who's in the workplace as well, can cite or annotate AI contributions and projects? What's a simple way to do that?
Yeah. And you hit the nail on the head when you mentioned transparency because that's what attribution is all about, right? Trust
Right,
and transparency. And in higher ed, and I'm sure K through 12 as well, hiding your use of AI is considered plagiarism.
right,
And in business, that can create compliance issues. And employers are going to trust you more when you're upfront about, hey, how AI helped you rather than trying to hide it.
right,
Again, show your receipts. Some simple ways to cite AI or to annotate AI contributions and projects. It doesn't have to be anything huge. And then, of course, there may be specific schools, teachers, employers that do want specific formats and whatnot. But to
yeah,
me, writing initial draft generated by GPT-4, revised by author, or outline
perfect,
uh, prepared initially by this AI, and if you use multiple AIs, you can include all of that.
right,
Um, Footnotes with versions and dates. But there's also, tools like browser extensions that you can get that can help you cite any page to say that
right.
you used it. Um, yeah, and I mean that just adds credibility to anything that you produce. Whether if you're putting out images or whatever you're using, just to include the AI that you used there. Yeah.
Yes, definitely, I agree. It's as simple as putting that one sentence in, probably at the end, right? Like that's like a works cited. Use GPT, use Perplexity, use any kind of other models that are out there. That's very
Hmm.
important. And then I think, are you starting to see that more as a professor? Are you starting to see that?
Students are still afraid to
Okay.
say that they've used. But you know what I do instead so that they don't have to? For a lot of my assignments, I mentioned Magic School AI. It's a super accessible education AI platform for like educators and students as well. Great as like a sandbox. But when they use that, I can see who's used it and who's used what tool, and they know all that. So that way, I'm like, if you just use this tool, then you don't have to go to say, I use this for this and that for that. I'll know. Um,
Right.
and so, that's an easy option for me. But yeah, I
Right.
think they're still a little afraid, even though I'm like, you have to use AI. They're still,
Hmm.
because of the earlier days that you were talking about, like before we
Yes.
really knew what was happening. Yeah. But that's what I'm trying to break. I'm trying to catch everybody up and use the best tools that we've got, until we have better ones, and then we'll use those ones.
Yes, and that's changing every day, every week. So like you said, if there's any students watching this, I do, I want to say make sure that you put that in. I think it's a great thing to put in. It shows more credibility than not putting it in. So it's a
Yeah.
win-win.
Yeah.
Coming from a professor herself. So
That's
this
right.
is yes. So this is good to know. Um, and I do also want to get into because we're all using AI. I know as a student, we're all using AI to get our resume ready, to get things, projects going, to get all those things going. How how can students turn AI collaborative assignments into these resume ready, you know, portfolios, projects?
That's a good question, and that's one thing that I love about Gen AIX too is we kind of have that built in so that the learners can turn those projects or whatever it is they're doing into like digital proof points. Whether it's you want to build a portfolio, a resume, or even if you're using like GitHub or something, documenting that evidence is how, especially like Gen Z, can turn everyday classwork into something that is career ready. And I
Yes.
tell my students to document the product and the process,
Yep.
um, building some kind of digital portfolio with like Google Sites or Notion, something like that. And then adding those AI process notes, if you will, right alongside, the work that you're doing. Um, and I would say too, a good key point here is fluency is going to beat fancy, right? Like I mentioned, the beautiful PowerPoint from a student example. Um, Seeing something that's accurate and accessible, and and that you're being transparent about is always better than something that's just pretty. You know,
Yeah.
um, yeah. So I would say, I guess, more to answer your question, um, is just including those pieces, even in just a narrative. Here's my process, so that
Yep.
employers know, like, how are they producing this? And one thing I recommend for sure, too, is keeping a prompt journal.
Hmm.
You could do in Notion or even just a database, however you want to do it, to keep track of what worked and what didn't work, because that shows work, right? It shows that you
Yes.
didn't just say, write a paper for me, that you did all
Yes.
these other things, which is its own form of critical thinking and its own skill. Um,
That's very insightful. I think for an assignment, you can title like, "This is my prompt journal for this assignment,"
mhm.
and then you can kind of go. That's fantastic. No, yeah, I think that's a great way to show attribution.
Yeah.
Definitely. And I do on that topic. I do want to go into Gen AI. I do want to go into the courses that we have. So I will be sharing my screen. And so here we have the Gen AI website. And you see on this left hand side, you go to courses right here, and you can go into our prompt engineering mastery course that is actually made by yours truly, yeah, by Naomi. So you can go into this
Right.
course, and you can go ahead and learn how to prompt better, learn how to make those better prompts, learn how to structure that prompt journal, and obviously get more AI fluent. And I do want to show the Canvas page that does come from this. And as you see, there's 7 modules. It's very extensive, and it's very good for resume building. It's very good for putting it on your resume as you're trying to get more AI fluent. So I do want to shout that out. And
Yeah.
is there anything that you want to say, Naomi, as well about this course?
Um, This is one of the more extensive courses. I've built a few, and I'm not the only one. There are a few others working on courses as well within Gen AI that I meet with regularly, and we kind of discuss what's working and what isn't working. And just like all the recommendations that I've had here for everyone else, we're following those same things. I have complete processes for how I've made things better, whether it's AI or not, you know. And we plan actually to kind of have a mini case study about this using that transparency and all those notes that we've taken and all the tools we've tried. So if you do take this course, it kind of a cool thing, I guess, is that you'll be able to see behind the scenes of how it's created and who was involved in it and the lessons learned and that type of thing. But this is one of the more extensive courses. I mean, it is prompt engineering mastery. Um, but one of the things I love about all of these courses is that it's not just reading stuff and taking tests. Like every second page is an activity that you can do that will produce some kind of takeaway that you're able to use for your resume, for some of them are like for things to post on LinkedIn, just different parts of like your life where those prompts can enhance what you already do. So it's very interactive. And then at the end, you get a badge that you get to, you know, add to your portfolio and your CV or your resume. Um, I have had the most fun with these, and I'm proud of them. So I would love whoever takes them. I'm sure you're gonna put out my LinkedIn information and all that. Feel free to reach out with feedback, suggestions, um, any of that. I'm completely open to all of it.
Yes, yes, of course. Naomi's LinkedIn link will be in the description. The course link will be in the description as well. And we also have the Gen AIX website on there as well. So make sure, even right now, if you're watching the video right now, make sure to go in there. If this interests you, go in there right now, check it out. Go sign up for that course and become more AI fluent. That's awesome.
Absolutely, absolutely, yeah.
That's awesome. Well, that is all the time we have today. Thank you so much, Naomi, for joining me today on today's episode. And that is it for AI Talks this week. Make sure to check us out on Gen AIX on LinkedIn, on YouTube, on Instagram as well. We also have a lot of content on there, and keep staying forward with our notifications. We have webinars every other week, and we have courses on our website that are very helpful to anyone willing to get into the AI space. So thank you.
For sure. Thank you so much.
Perfect. That's it. Signing off until next week.